Got Ruthless in the motherfucking house. Yo, what's
Jeff
up, Ruthless? How you been, bro?
Jeff side, I've been good, man. Feeling good. This heavy frequency got me exalted, dog.
The Haru frequency, right? Yeah, new shit. I've been on that Jimi Hendrix frequency. I've been
that's
Jimi Hendrix
shit, nigga.
I've been on that Tupac frequency.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, show him the Pac on the wall, nigga.
Hell yeah.
Pac, bruh.
Hey man, we actually channel Tupac's spirit.
To die for, nigga.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Hey, check this shit out, man. Tupac was looking over us as we was making some music one of these days, and we channeled Tupac's spirit.
Yeah,
the messianic energy. And so, you know what I mean? We know what messianic energy is, but you know what I mean? To those who may not really have a clue, or maybe have a clue of what messianic energy is, but don't quite know, like, you tell them a little bit more about what messianic energy is.
Alright. So, messianic energy is, we like to call it Jah. You've probably heard Jah before if you're familiar with the Rastas. The Rastas say Jah. When you say Jah, it does identify King Selassie. You know what I mean? The living black God incarnate. He was our living black God incarnate. If you don't know who Haile Selassie was, he was the Emperor of Ethiopia. The Rastafarians worship him as their deity. This fucking lawnmower is trying to fuck up my cloth, so I'm gonna shut this window. But King Selassie was the Emperor of Ethiopia, and he is basically the embodiment of Messianic energy. That is what his deity represents. The deification, the deitization. I'm not sure if that's a word, but King Selassie as a deity, he represents Messianic energy. Messianic energy is the energy of the gifted dragon.
The energy of the gifted dragon.
Energy of the gifted dragon. The gifted dragon energy is Jah. Jah is God energy. It's a God energy. It's a Messianic force. The Messianic energy is a force that moves through you when you tap into your consciousness through the knowledge of self, through the mastery of self, through the understanding of your history, the history of the world. When you tap into metaphysics, when you tap into to quantum physics, when you tap into consciousness, this shit is all universal. That's why I utilize shamanism. Shamanism is the only universal tool because every different culture, every different tribe around the world has their own shamanism. Voodoo is the traditional African system of shamanism, which I'll get into that later on. However, it is relevant to the Messianic energy. Once you tap into self and you start decoding your prophecies, understanding your mythology, your role in this narrative that we're all contributing to here in this matrix that we live in, the Messianic energy is what moves through you. We call it Jah, and that's what made King Selassie a Messiah. It pretty much makes you a Messiah. And there's been many Messiahs. Tupac embodied the Messianic energy. Jimi Hendrix, Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters, Amiri Baraka, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, MLK even. He had Messianic energy. He misused it in leading us into the burning house that was integration. However, he did have the Messianic force going through him. The Messianic energy had an upsurge in the 1960s. In the 1960s, when the Black Power movement appeared, that was a surge of Messianic energy that was moving through us here in America, the Afro-Americans, as well as the Africans in Africa, which was why they went over there and started assassinating the leaders, and JFK authorized that shit. So that's why the counterintelligence program was started, to counter the intelligence of not only the Black Power nationalists, but everyone. They countered the intelligence of America and the rest of the world, which is why we're in the matrix now. They countered everyone's intelligence, and it was because there was a Messianic energy moving through people of African descent, which was connecting us back to the ancestors and making us become gods. It was making us demonstrate the kind of Messianic force that made those individuals become great icons to us. Bruce Lee had Messianic energy moving through him. He was Chinese, but he was able to tap into his self-knowledge, his history of his people, and that was able to make him become a gifted dragon. And that's where the terminology of gifted dragon comes from, Jeet Kune Do. So that's what the Messianic energy is.
Hell yeah. So, many people think, that the first civilization... Yeah, you can take that, bro.
Fucking telemarketer. Fuck them.
For real, though.
You go ahead and keep asking that question, bro.
Hell yeah. So, many people think that, oh, well, the first civilization was Egypt. That's what we're taught in, I guess, our modern education system. If you're religious, if you're religious, you know what I mean? A lot of people believe even this is a majority Christian country.
When it's not, it's Masonic.
Masonic, yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not Christians.
And then, a lot of conscious motherfuckers think that, Egypt Kemet's, the first civilization. So you say, oh, well, Kemet was the first civilization, and you see someone else that says that, oh, you're conscious. You actually know that? But not even either, right? So you tell us what the first civilization actually was.
So recently, I had a tarot card reading. Salute and shout out to Miss Olympia for that. And she informed me that I had a powerful message coming to me. I was already somewhat privy to it because I was tapping into my Law 44. I was tapping into my 44 cortex. I was aware of the energies that were coming to me. I'm an Aries. I was aware of the martial energy that I was feeling. And I recently found a book which is called Wonderful Ethiopians of the Cushite Empire, published in 1926. It was written by Drusilla D. Houston, a woman who was a journalist, teacher, writer, everything. She did it all. And the Masonic energy moved through her, and she played the role of prophetic scribe and scribed this text, which is called The Wonderful Ethiopians of the Cushite Empire. Now, anyone who wants to try to say, oh, I don't believe what's in the book, whatever, I'm not addressing that right now. I'm just giving y'all the cloth. So, what the Wonderful Ethiopians of the Cushite Empire tells us is that Egypt was not the first civilization, and Kemet was not the apex of our African civilizations, because the first dynasty of Egypt started seemingly out of nowhere. Seemingly out of nowhere. There was no archaic age where they were figuring out the different kinds of rituals they were doing, the sciences they were using, the way they were able to figure out how to build the pyramids, how to build the Sphinx. That just appeared out of nowhere, and a lot of people are willing to give that credit to extraterrestrial life forms rather than the black man. They don't want to give it to us. They don't want to give it to African people, the black man, the black woman. They don't want to acknowledge that African people developed that shit. They want to say the Anunnaki did it. There's even individuals in the conscious community who are saying that, and I don't agree with that. I'm not going to give credit to aliens, to E.T. Phone home. E.T. phone home. I'm not going to give that nigga credit for something my ancestors did. And that's why I'm here right now to tell y'all this shit, because I ain't down with that. I ain't down with giving E.T. Steven Spielberg wrote that shit, so I ain't gonna give him credit for the pyramids. If y'all trying to give Steven Spielberg credit for the Sphinx, nigga, I think something's wrong with that. So what happened was, we had the first world civilization was in ancient Ethiopia. Nubian Ethiopia, or Nubia, had a few different names. It was closely connected to Arabia, which is why there's a war being waged on the Muslims right now. We'll get into that later. However, Arabia was tied into it. Arabian Nights, the book the book called Arabian Nights that many people are familiar with, which has a lot of folklore in it. A lot of that is tied into actual history that has been removed from our consciousness, and she dives into that in the book. Drusilla D. Houston dives into that into the book. I do plan on studying Arabian Nights to get some of that cloth out of there. But what happened was, we already had a world civilization. We were in Arabia. We were in Asia Minor. Europe didn't